WWF Summerslam, 1997. Heart and soul. Heart because Bret Hart's here. Soul is what shot out of Stone Cold's asshole as he got pile driven by Owen Hart. But paralyzation aside, pretty good show. We got a all-timer steel cage match between Triple H and Mankind. Bret Hart versus Undertaker in the main event with Shawn Michaels as a special guest referee. And a race war. 1997, what a time. And speaking of good times, get ready for one right here on the Apron Bump Podcast.
And the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock this. Let's get started.
What's up, everybody? What the heck is up, everybody? Welcome to the Apron Bump Podcast. I am your host, the hardest part of the ring, Kyle. How is everybody doing today? Hope everybody had a lovely 4th of July. To my Americans out there, to my non-Americans, hope you had a regular, lovely weekend. But speaking of Americans and non-Americans, that is a big theme here. 1997, Hart Foundation running amok all over SummerSlam 1997, which is the show we're going to be talking about today. We have various singles matches. We got Brian Pillman versus Goldust, Bulldog versus Ken Shamrock, Bret versus Taker, Owen versus Stone Cold. So the Canadian Stampede from the previous WWF pay-per-view, which, by the way, if you have not checked that episode out yet, that we all here on the Apron Bump reviewed a few weeks ago, go check that out and check out this whole timeline. I'll put a link in the description. Everything from WCW, ECW, and WWF from WrestleMania 10 and on. Every single pay-per-view we've covered here chronologically relive this just strange, exciting, just, in my opinion, pretty damn sick period of wrestling. We're in the heat of the summer of 1997, and arguably this is as good as wrestling gets. I mean, WCW's firing on all cylinders. ECW's doing great stuff. We got some pretty good stuff from WWF as well. But the question is, folks, which company is hardest? Well, you're just going to have to stay tuned to the end of the episode where we pit these three companies against each other and we see where we are at this point in time as of August 3rd, 1997. We'll look at the best and the worst so far in terms of in-ring, out-of-ring, characters, storylines, all of it. We'll grade the show. We'll look at the TV, all this stuff. And whichever company has the most points at the end of 1997 will receive a purchase of a championship belt from yours truly, of whatever company that is. As you can see by the Intercontinental title behind me, I did not have it there last week. I just kind of assumed it was back there, but it was covered by my pointy ghost outfit. So, so stay tuned to the end of the episode and see where we stand. As of right now, just a quick update on the score, but we'll get into the scoring system and all that at the end of the episode. Right now, WCW is in the lead with 29 points, ECW in second with 25, and WWF with 4 points. But a lot of year left, a lot can change, and I have a few ideas of some things that may or may not change on this scoreboard, but we will get to that, like I said, at the end of the podcast. But SummerSlam 97, what else is there to say? It's legendary for one particular moment. I guess two moments really in hindsight are kind of very influential in their various ways. But we talk about that. We talk about that on the podcast. And who is we? Who is we, hardest part of the ring? That's probably what you're yelling at your radio right now. Myself and my boy Wrestle G debuting on the program was a hoot. Having this boy on from Wales, this Welsh lad hopping on the Apron Bump. And we had a good old... Cat's about to shit his pants behind me. We had a good old time talking SummerSlam 97, so go check him out on X. He has various videos that he posts pretty regularly, talking a lot about Raw from kind of this period. They're just all over the years. A A lot of old school stuff, a lot of current stuff on his timeline as well. He's planning on starting a YouTube channel, so keep abreast of that. He's a good speaker, a good podcaster, and just a handsome boy. So go check him out. All of his information will be in the description below. Wrestle G. Follow me at Apron Bump all across the board. Been posting some stuff on YouTube, some YouTube exclusive stuff. So if you're not subscribed on YouTube, well, boy, howdy, you're missing out. So go check that out. What else? Join the Discord. I think I've babbled enough. Let's get into this bad boy, shall we? WWF SummerSlam 1997 with myself and Wrestle G. Where is it that you're from again? Remind me.
So I'm in Wales.
UK. I'm from Dolphin. Come on. Oh, my soundboard is can you hear the laughs?
I can.
I think it's coming like from the physical thing here. Whatever. That'll have to do. Is it blisteringly hot over there in Wales? I know
it is actually. It's the warmest it's been for some years. So no one knows what to do because we don't have air conditioning and our houses are all designed to hold heat in. So it's just like living in ovens at the moment.
Yeah, you all have like brick buildings over there, right?
Oh yeah. My house is very old and very bricked. So it's just a write-off.
Yeah, just build different houses. Just knock them down, make them out of hay or something. I don't know.
But I went to Glastonbury Festival last weekend, so I was very glad that it was warm for that.
Ooh, how was that?
Awesome. I cannot recommend it enough. It's worth the trip just to like live in it for a week or so.
What was the best moment of that festival for you, do you think?
Oh, good question.
It's a music festival, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's got all sorts. I tell you who was awesome was Nile Rodgers and Chic.
Okay.
Like they did an hour of just like back to back of the best, like most well-known feel-good disco songs you've ever heard. And it was like a religious experience.
I would have guessed you were a disco lad. So makes sense. But speaking of disco, well, not really about disco, but hot. Summer is hot. SummerSlam is, I don't know. I thought that'd be smoother, but SummerSlam 97, man. Did you get a chance to check out the show once again?
I did. I went and revisited, and I've got myself reacquainted with 1997, the best year that there's ever been in wrestling.
Ooh, were you watching live at the time?
Yeah. So in the UK, it was like you had the Monday Night Wars and we had the Friday Night Wars. So all of our wrestling happened on Friday. It was really like it was normal to me, and it wasn't until the internet I realized like what a thing. But yeah, Sky Sports, 5:00 every Friday evening, Raw, and after Cartoon Network finished at like 4:00, then they turn it into TNT and they play Nitro on Friday evenings as well. So
nice. Were you more of a WWF guy or a WCW guy?
I was more of a WWF guy because we didn't get the WCW pay-per-views.
Right.
We didn't get Thunder. We literally just got Nitro every week. And WWF was on from like the early 90s as well. Like there was no WCW until Nitro started in 95. So I was already indoctrinated into the WWF before WCW had a chance to nab me.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I was a WWF kid myself growing up for no other reason than it's just what I stumbled upon and what I stuck with. But in going back, because I'm rewatching everything. I'm watching all the WCW stuff for the first time, ECW. And I gotta say, WCW's kicking WWF's ass at this point, I would say. In terms, I like everything with Steve Austin and the Hart Foundation is great, but outside of that, not a lot going on, which will kind of be represented with this show, I feel like. But that being said, though, SummerSlam 97, not sure how I feel about it. It's a monumental show for bad reasons.
Yeah.
But there's some good stuff on here. I think overall it was a pretty good show. I think it had more hits than misses. But overall, this event, what did you did it live up to your expectations of what you remember it being?
I tell you, I found it really weird sitting and tuning into this show, like with the wrestling we have now. It seemed so much slower than like how I remember, and a lot more like guys laying it in, and it looked a lot more snug.
Mm-hmm.
And I quite liked that. From like, I love wrestling now. Like, I love that fast paced, like more athleticism and things. But I can see now why there's a lot of grumpy podcasters who long for, long for the yesteryear. So that's what really stood out to me. Everyone just seemed a little bit more snug, a little bit more laying their stuff in, and like it seemed a bit more like a tussle.
Yes, tussle. I like that. Yeah, I always say it just feels like a struggle in '97, but I like tussle. I'm gonna start using tussle. I think that's part of the reason why I'm enjoying WCW so much is because they have the slow, methodical, very heavy character-based stuff, but they also have the cruiserweight stuff. Is like if you sit down for a WCW pay-per-view, you get a little bit of everything, which overall, to me, makes the experience just more enjoyable, and it's paced so well. Whereas WWF, it's kind of similar. I wouldn't say it's completely monotone, but I would say it's a lot of similar stuff in a row. But I don't know how much WCW you've gone back and watched. But
oh yeah, a lot. Like once the sort of DVDs all kicked in and everything, and the network and stuff, I did something very similar to you, but just without the advent of YouTube. I went back and sort of did the whole Nitro and Raw side by side type thing, and like it's even stuff like production as well with WCW around this time. Like it looks brighter, it just looks a little bit more polished and stuff. And I think when you see like the cruiserweight costumes as well, like everything's so bright and like
vibrant.
bouncy. Yeah, vibrant is exactly the word. And yeah, I think they don't really get enough credit. The NWO stuff gets all the headlines, but that underneath, like you say, those young guys bringing stars from Japan, Mexico, and things is something that Vince would have allowed. He never would have taken the leash off those guys and let them do it. So it was really refreshing when Bischoff did just kind of say, yeah, you go out, you got 12 minutes, do what you want.
Yeah, I mean, WWF is starting to get their light heavyweight division off the ground at this point, but this is like Scott Putski and Grandmaster Sexay and Crowbar. Yeah, the Crowbar. Devin Storm. He made an appearance on Raw for a second. So it's like it doesn't have the, I guess, diversity. It doesn't have like the unique. Like everybody kind of feels the same, and they don't really have that much of a different style than the rest of the roster. Whereas WCW, you have, like you said, people from Mexico, Japan, all the masks and the colors and the crazy maneuvers. Like it's just no comparison. And to your point, I feel like Vince just never like committed to that division.
And the issue he has to have so much control over things that it was all about Taka. It didn't matter that those guys were even there because he just wanted to create Taka Michinoku as the champion and push him like above all else. So he had the shine. The other guys were just there to kind of pay lip service really to that whole tournament.
Right. Yeah, well, we'll get there eventually. But in the meantime, we got Heart and Soul SummerSlam 1997. I mean, the main event, Bret Hart versus Undertaker. So Hart, H-A-R-T, for those unaware. This has got to be like the best tagline of a pay-per-view ever, no?
Yeah, it is. And I think this is like the first time they kind of did it for a in your house as well. Like I can't remember any other SummerSlams having a tagline before.
You might be right. I know there was one year they had something. It was like, it's so hot, it's scary. It was like 94 or some shit. Like, I don't know. They're not all winners. Not all winners. But pretty good intro package here. They're like just starting to dip their toes into this really cinematic kind of packaging of their intros. Also, they start off with the national anthem, which I'm sure meant a lot to you. Because the whole USA versus Canada is very prevalent in the WWF right now. And I suppose you don't really have a dog in the race, but
No, I was. They kind of try to always play like the UK loves Brett, so like he'll be the face everywhere else, and
because you got the bulldog in there. So
yeah, it was kind of like that. Just going back to that video package quick, the voiceover guy that they used to have for all like the intros, was he like a famous voiceover guy in America? Because I only ever heard him on WWF stuff. Did he used to do like other voiceovers? So I used to love his intros.
If he wasn't doing anything else, I mean, he was leaving money on the table because I agree he was great. I'm sure he's done some other stuff. I can't really off the top of my head think of anything. But if you know, sound off in the comments if you know any things that this gentleman did in the voiceover studio. But no, yeah, good stuff here. Really set the tone. And our opening match here, we got a steel cage. Mankind versus Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Of course, with China in tow. The blue cage. Where do you stand on it?
I love the blue cage.
It's so good.
Yeah, it kind of pops, doesn't it? Like the mesh, I think sometimes kind of blends in sometimes, and you can't really see. But the blue cage used to have this really weird wobble as well, like when they used to throw people into it, and it looked like it hurt like hell. It looked like it was disgustingly just really steel. It felt and looked like it was steel.
I mean, wrestlers have spoken in interviews that this was a pretty brutal. There was no give to it, like you mentioned. So, yeah. And I think I like how it's not too big. I feel like modern day cages, they're like goofily big to where it doesn't feel like you're restricted. It feels like it's just like another building that you're fighting in. But this felt like just dogs in a cage. Like I thought it worked. Yeah,
the new cages feel a bit too comfortable. Like they got that like bit you can walk around the top, and like it all feels a little bit safe. Whereas the blue cage, like anytime you're near the top of that thing, you're like they're going one way or the other, and it's a long way down from there. But I found it weird that they started with a cage match for this time. Like 97 with a gimmick match like that. That feels like a new kind of area for the WWF. The cage match used to be a blow off type thing.
Yeah, I'm wondering because I think this is before they just repelled it from the ceiling, right? So I guess they had to set it up, and it's probably easier to just set it up before the show, then take it down, then have like set it up within the I don't know, but I thought it worked here. So Triple H or Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Mankind. I'm just gonna call him Triple H. In the midst of their first feud, which has been pretty good so far, it's really Hunter's first foray in the main event scene here, and Mankind is having a bit of a identity crisis. He's obviously Mankind, but he's debuted his other persona, Dude Love, on Raw. He is actually the current tag team champion with Steve Austin, which now that I'm just thinking of this now, is Mankind not the tag team champion? It's just Dude Love.
Yeah,
right.
It's completely different people.
Stupid question. I don't even know why I asked it. Thank you for keeping me straight.
Completely different. I mean, they were both in the Royal Rumble again a couple of months later. So if they were the same person, that couldn't have happened.
That's. I just need to stop and think sometimes. You're right. But yes. So that has nothing to do with this, I guess. But Mankind's in here, going up against Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I thought this match was pretty good. I liked the general psychology of it. I liked Hunter sprinting to the door right away to escape, and Mankind stopping him, and there's some pretty interesting spots within this match. But overall, what'd you think of this one?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. The two things that stood out for me is, number one, there's a suplex from the top of the cage, like halfway through, and that ring does not move.
I had the same note. That was brutal.
It like I felt it in my living room like all these years later. It just both guys hit, and it's like I don't know how they lasted so long on those rings. Like it is brutal.
When Vince McMahon started taking bumps on it is when it became softer, according to some wrestlers, which I believe.
And the second thing that struck me is just how well booked Chyna is.
Right.
Like the whole presentation of her, like the way they utilize her through the whole thing. Like I know she gets it dues for like breaking down barriers and stuff when she's a single, but I think as this bodyguard, as a female bodyguard in 1997, I was just watching her work and I was like, this is so perfect. Like loads of guys never got it like that right.
Right.
That whole like cast right, but she did, and I was really like, she stood out. She stood out even like these years, so many years on.
Yeah, she was damn near the most active person in this whole match, I would say. But yeah, no, I agree. She was very believable, just a very unique look. I mean, just the fact that she's a female bodyguard for a male. I don't know if that had ever been done up to this point. But yeah, she's, constantly climbing the cage to reach through and grab Mankind to stop him. And one point, Mankind's like about to climb out of the cage, and she just gets up there and punches him in the asshole, I think. I didn't get a great look at it, but that's what it seemed like. Whatever you gotta do. Whatever you got. I do like the little spot here where Mankind suplexes Hunter into the cage, and Hunter is hanging upside down against the cage, and then Mick goes and hits the ropes, comes back with an elbow. That was a super unique spot. I guess you can't really do with the modern cages; it's just too tall.
No,
but
you could see the chemistry with these guys as well. Like they're gonna do the Cactus Jack stuff in a couple of months in MSG. And then like 2000 is when Mick makes Triple H, isn't it? Like that whole title run is built on Mick Foley's sort of work, but you can see it even here. This is so smooth and it's so well thought out, and like it was. It's hard to do a cage match that isn't a main event. I think you've got less time. You got to try and work around that. You got to try and not steal the show so much, I guess, than if it's built up. But I loved it, and I just the only thing that I felt was a little bit of a shame is dude's meant to have this big red heart on his chest when he goes up for that final spot, and it's just not there. It's just sweat away.
Yeah. I didn't even really grasp what he was doing. Like, okay, is him ripping the shirt off? Is that significant at some point? I guess it was supposed to be a dude love heart.
Yeah, it's harking back to that home video where he's jumping off the house and he's got the heart on the shirt. And I think JR tries to kind of shoehorn in the explanation at some point, and I think Vince kind of talks over him, which he tends to do in a 3-man.
No, not my Vince McMahon. He would never. What a maneuver! No.
But yeah, it was a shame because I think it was like a real sort of significance there for him to do the Jimmy Snuka thing. But yeah, bit of a dance.
I think it kind of worked out well because, like, in the lead up to it, obviously China's getting involved constantly. At some point, Mick catapults Triple H into the cage, knocks China off of it, which gets a huge pop from the crowd. Mick double arm DDT to Hunter. And then as Mick is climbing the cage to escape, we hear big Superfly chants from the crowd, just organically, seemingly. Because you're going back to him jumping off the house. He also always harkens back to the Jimmy Snuka spot, is like what made him want to be a wrestler, and he wanted to be that guy. So we hear these Superfly chants, and he's climbing over the cage, starts climbing down, and as he's about to hit the floor, decides to go back up to the top, gets set up in the corner, rips his shirt off, like you mentioned. It's just some red splotch on his chest. And then does an elbow drop from the top of the cage, which I don't know if that had been done, other obviously than Jimmy Snuka. I don't know if that had really been done.
No, they tended to do suplexes a lot. That used to be the kind of big go-to spot one. Brett and Owen did a big suplex one in SummerSlam 94. But yeah, I can't remember too many people jumping off like he did.
Yeah, for sure. And also another detail is that before he hit the floor and decided to climb back up, he rips his mask off to unveil just the human that is Mick Foley. And then he gets to the top. It's a lot of just, who am I character? Like, what person am I? Is he Dude Love? And then he's doing like the Cactus Jack style elbow. So it's all kind of intertwined here. But he hits the elbow and then he climbs over the top as China tries to drag Triple H out through the door. So just drama all the way to the very end of this. But Mick gets to the floor first and wins the match. So again, just good psychology, fun spots, pretty brutal stuff, and I agree. It's instant chemistry with these guys for sure.
Yeah, I remember the first time I watched this as it was happening live, and it felt like sometimes you get a match at the start of the card where you sort of dial in now for the rest of the event. Like it sets the tone, it sets what you want to do, and I think at this point you can feel that Mick Foley's getting a bit of confidence as well. Like in hindsight, I think for the longest time he was kind of just Undertaker fodder, and they enjoyed the fact that he'd bumped for Taker. But this kind of feels like you say he's with Austin in the whole Dude Love thing. He's had a program with Triple H. He's starting to like get more of himself into the character, and he felt confident in this. He felt like he was really finding his feet finally.
Yeah, he like got through that cartoony phase of his introduction, which there was some good moments with, just psychotic Mankind. But now, I think he's just starting to put it all together, and the fact that he can like pull back from his older characters and his childhood type stuff. I agree. Seems like it's all working out for him. But we cut from that. Oh, by the way, he's on the ground. Mankind is, and then the fucking Dude Love music starts playing, and the way it pans from Mankind's face to his feet, and see the tapping to the music.
Who's the guy in the front row as well who's like dressed as Dude Love? He's like a proper cosplayer guy, and Foley goes over and gives him a big hug. I don't know if it's like a friend of his or something, or
Bro Love or Dude Lust, Dude Lust, maybe could be. I don't know. We'll have to look into that. But after that, it cuts to Todd Pettengill on the stage, and he announces that the New Jersey governor, Christine Todd Whitman, is in the building to a chorus of boos.
Yeah, she was the biggest heel of the night.
Which I'm not too in tune with why she's hated, but I don't know.
They pitched her as bringing wrestling back for the first time in 8 years, and she still got booed.
What could she have done? I don't know. I don't know. But because they're putting over how she's basically the reason that WWF is back here in New Jersey, and they stopped running shows there. I just recently learned this, that apparently legislation like that New Jersey saw wrestling as a sport, so there was an extra tax on ticket sales. But this governor apparently passed some legislation that reclassified pro wrestling as entertainment and not a sport, which took away the tax, which made it cheaper to run shows there, which is why they're back. And I don't know. But the crowd didn't seem too happy with her.
I did enjoy a Gorilla Monsoon appearance, though.
What a cast. Yeah. So Gorilla Monsoon's out there with her, and so are the Headbangers for some reason.
They're from New Jersey.
Are they though?
I don't know. She was claiming they were. She gets kind of like bigging that part of it up, but that's the only link I could kind of hold on to.
I bet you they're not. Headbanger Mosh, where is he from? Let's see. Chaz Warrington is from. Oh, he is? Okay. Mosh is from New Jersey. All right, go. That's one. That's one. Headbanger Thrasher. Where's he from? Glenn Ruth. Wow. Okay, he's from New Jersey. Wow.
There we go.
Egg on our face. I guess that makes sense. I don't know if that was like a parts unknown deal with the Headbangers, or I don't know if Beaver Cleavage is also from New Jersey, but he's probably from Nutley. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and then this mayor or governor. This is one of my pet peeves, is like when people like outside of wrestling or like news headlines, when they're talking about wrestling, it's like, we put the body slam on this tag. So they're throwing out all the like, what did she say? She said, I'm glad I'm here. I'm ready to rumble here in New Jersey. Boo.
Didn't she have like photo ops with the Undertaker as well that they showed on the thing? And it's just like, of all, I know he's champion at the time, but of all the people to throw out there looking awkward because he has to stay in character 24/7, and like that's not the person.
Pulled him out of the casket.
That's not a person to send to the politicians, is it? This essential
table.
zombie that you send.
Yeah, had to catch him in the daytime. That was the trick. Well, Gorilla Monsoon's there and makes her honorary WWF champion. So that's fun, right? That's fun. But we transition from that to Tiger Jeet Singh and Tiger Ali Singh sitting ringside. First time or at least first time Tiger Ali Singh is shown, I believe, at this point.
Do you feel like I do that? Like this seemed to happen every 6 months around this time. Like they would show
him
Tiger Ali Singh. Yeah, they would show Tiger Ali Singh, and then he would have like one match on Raw. It would suck, and then he'd go away, and then 6 months later they'd like show him in the crowd, or he'd come out for a promo. Then he'd disappear again. Like,
yeah,
it just never ever caught on, did it?
Because this is summer of '97, and I remember him being like at the Royal Rumble in 2001. So he was there for a while, but just did nothing. Like he had this goofy tag team with D'Lo Brown and Mosh. And then he was for a while. He was doing like, I'll give you $20 if you lick my feet or whatever the hell that was.
$1 Million Man type kind of.
Yeah.
Thing. Didn't he? Was Tiger Ali Singh the one who lost his spot to Drew Carey in that 2000?
Yes.
Royal Rumble, there was that little backstage skit, wasn't he?
When I said he was at the Royal Rumble, that was his only. He was in a quick backstage, and Drew Carey's like, "Hi guys, I'm taking one of your spots. All right, see you later." And I think that might have been the last time he was ever on TV. So,
what a legacy!
What a time! What a time! But man, the hits just keep on coming. This next match, we got Brian Pillman versus Goldust. So this is kind of spawned out of the whole Canadian Stampede. We had the Team Canada, the Hart Foundation versus the Team USA. We guess we got opposing kind of the outcasts of each of those groups here facing off against each other. I think pretty much the story here is that Brian Pillman has been harassing Marlena and Goldust is not taking it. Is that pretty much it?
Pretty much it, yeah. Pillman's just being completely inappropriate with Marlena, and that makes him a heel. One thing, because there's lots of stipulations through the thread of the Hart Foundation in this one, and I remember listening to an old kayfabe commentaries. I think it was a Timeline series, and Jim Cornette did 1997, and he said that this whole stipulation thing was his idea, and it's from like old Memphis shows where you would have stipulations for like groups of people and it would be a thread. And he said for some reason Vince started listening to him around this time for a few months, up until Kane debuted. So that's kind of like how that all came to be with all the stipulations that the Hart Foundation had. It's a Jim Cornette Memphis sort of inspired.
Interesting.
Idea.
I believe it. That makes perfect sense in my head. So I definitely believe that. And what is the stipulation for this match? I forget.
This is if Pillman loses, he has to wear a dress. Which
one of Marlena's dresses.
Which strikes me as weird for two reasons. Number one, if you're a loose cannon, I can't really see that wearing a dress is a particularly humiliating thing.
He probably already wears dresses, right?
He seems like the kind of man who would just embrace it. And secondly, like you've painted him as this creepy stalker type person, and now you're going to give him the dress of the woman that he's been stalking, which again seems to be something that really means he wins. Maybe
he's a loose cannon, but he's smart. You know what I'm saying? Wow. He's playing the long game here. He can't lose. That's what they say. I
also forgot how much I hated his theme music. It's like this really. It's sort of like almost like do 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 do. And it's like it's really and it's really passive. Like there's no like crescendo to it, or there's no like start of it. It's really Jim Johnson is the man, but that one was a miss. Yeah, we're just getting out of that period where like Diesel just came out to a truck horn and he had a Yankum with the drills. So we're not completely out of that era, but we're getting out of there slowly but surely. But yeah, no, I agree. It was pretty rough.
But unfortunately, though, we are towards the tail end of Brian Pillman.
Mm.
He's dealing with all the injuries and the recovering from injuries. So his ankle is shot at this point. It's like it's fused. So he's no longer flying Brian. But given his physical restrictions, this match actually I thought was a little better than I expected. I mean, two talented guys. Goldust is great. He's still in pretty sound mind, I think, at this point. I do like Goldust countering an atomic drop with a kiss, which is fun.
Yeah.
Which left Pillman's face all gold for the rest of the match.
Yeah, that face paint, it must have been really warm in there because usually he didn't, like, it was all over his chest as well. Like, when they're doing headlocks and stuff, like that was
very moist. Very moist. But no, I thought this was, it's not a match I'm going to go back and rewatch, but I thought this was fine. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it was, it was what it was. Both guys knew what they were doing. Both of them got to where they needed to be. Just Goldust, I guess, at this time, like, it feels a little bit directionless. I know this is like an angle, but from what he was, like, super innovative, super like controversial. This feels like a transition period for him when I watched it.
Yeah, I had to say, because he's no longer, they made a point to say he used to be the bizarre one, but now he's the glamorous one, which it feels like they're trying to almost like humanize him a little bit. Like they're trying to, he still looks like Goldust. So I can't call him generic, but they're really leaning heavy into he's Dustin Rhodes dressed as a guy to get in the heads of, I feel like that takes away from his shtick. I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's even more weird to think in 4 months' time he's going to come out with a ball gag and start reading Dr. Zeus.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, those fetishes come on quick, though, all right? I'm not going to throw stones in glass houses. So.
I did like Marlena as well. We talked about China in the last match being like perfectly cast. I like Marlena's work here as well. She knew what she was doing. She was working. Like I'd love that director's chair sort of vibe with the cigar. Like I always thought that was a really cool look.
Yeah, no, for sure. She's smoking the cigar ringside, and eventually she plays a pivotal part in this match when Goldust goes for a sunset flip over the top rope into the ring, lands right on his head. But he kind of gets under Brian. Brian's like trying to block it. He crawls towards the ropes. And he gets to the ropes, but Marlena smashes him with, I assume, her loaded purse. And Goldust rolls him up, gets the quick 1, 2, 3. And now Brian's got to wear a dress. All the humanity. My goodness.
I'm pretty sure he just comes out on the next night on Raw just like running around in it.
Upskirts.
Like, like I can't quite remember for it, but I never feel like he ever really shied away from his responsibility of losing that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll keep you abreast of what happens with that. But that'll be on the next night on Raw. And that was pretty much, I don't know if you had any other notes on that one, but that was pretty much all I had on it.
Yeah, no, it like I said, just Marlena I liked, and just it did feel a bit. It's like you say, Pillman was looked pretty good in this match, and he was starting to wrestle more regularly, like than he had been, and there might have been another run in there somewhere that like in between the ropes that would have been really good. It's just really sad, really, when I was watching it. There's only going to be a couple of months' time, and he won't be with us anymore. But yeah, it's a shame, but. Yeah, good. And I enjoyed it.
Yeah. That's somebody that, if nothing else, he would have been so valuable as like a backstage presence or to mentor to some people. But yeah, pretty sad. But after that, we got a tag team match on our hands here. We got the Godwins, Henry O. Godwin and Phineas I. Godwin, taking on the Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal. Man, so I would say broken necks is a theme with the show.
I totally forgot until I went back to it that the whole angle around Henry Godwin and the Doomsday Device and the broken neck, and so when they started talking about it, I was like, "Ooh, you
kind of an eerie foreshadowing."
It really is, yeah. Like to play it for an angle and then have to deal with it later. But I talked about Pillman's music and not liking it. What I love about the Godwins is you can tell whether they're a face or a heel by their music straight away. If you hear the Deliverance, they're heels. If you hear the Good Old Country Boys, they're faces. So before they've even do-si-doed out or looked very menacingly forward out, you know what you're dealing with the Godwins.
It is very menacing. It kind of reminds me in a way of when Doink was heel, where it was like kind of silly, but also sinister. Like there's something when you combine those two facets, it makes it just creepy to me. But yes, they're none too happy. Like you mentioned on Raw a few months ago, the Road Warriors did a Doomsday device to Henry, and he landed right on his neck, broke his neck, and was out for a few months, and now is back. And now the Godwins, I would say justifiably so, are not too happy with the Legion of Doom. So they are out here in overalls and no shirts. So that means they're heels, I think. But yeah, first of all, Godwin's coming out to a Confederate flag in New Jersey is wild. Just wild stuff.
Totally went over my head as a kid. Didn't get it at all. Like I just thought it was just a nice flag they had for their house, you know. Like,
it's the Godwin symbol, I guess, right?
Why are they so mad at these guys? They're just happy to be where they come from.
Is that not their sports team? I don't know.
Then you start reading, you're like, oh, okay, right, okay, good work.
Oh boy. But yeah, I don't know. This is, you see this on paper, you kind of know what this match is going to be, and it's not necessarily smooth. But I don't know. I like, they're both targeting each other's necks, and eventually the Legion gets the win with a spike pile driver to Hog. So this all kind of ties together with the story, but match itself, I don't know. What'd you think about this bad boy?
Yeah, it felt very throwback even for 97, I think, to me.
Yeah.
When they first sort of squared off, I thought it made the Godwins look really good because they looked huge. Like LOD's whole things, like these powerhouses who are like street fighters and stuff. But like Henry was pretty towering over Hawk, like in the ring, and I kind of liked that. I thought that did set it up because obviously LOD were going to kick their ass. So to set it up that these guys are bigger, but that doesn't matter. They're still going to steamroller through them. I thought it was quite good. It kind of harks back to what we said at the beginning. Like it was very snug. It was very like laying your stuff in. It was very like tight. It was like, so much different to the kind of breathing space I think you see these days. Where guys kind of allow that little bit of room for other guys to do their spots and stuff. This felt a lot more claustrophobic.
Yeah. It's a great way to describe this match. It's very claustrophobic for sure.
But as JR would say, bowling shoe ugly.
Well, that's kind of what it has to be when these two teams are in the ring together, I guess.
I still think LOD had a lot of value at this time, though. I always liked them as a kid. I guess I missed their like late 80s heyday. So
yeah, same.
I only ever had their sort of spiked marketing, shiny WWF runs, but I always think they were always over with me, and I think they still looked like they were pretty sharp in this one. Like I didn't feel like they really like embarrassed themselves or anything.
No, I thought they're like physically it was pretty much as good as they ever were. I just think unfortunately with WWF the tag division was always such a far afterthought, and like this isn't even like for a title or anything. It's just a throwaway. I think it's Dude Love and Steve Austin are the tag, so it's just a prop for another program going on. So the tag division is pretty much nothing at this point. It's pretty much just these two teams. Well, I guess if you want to include the gangs that we'll talk about later, I guess they can be part of it, which that's a whole other thing. But yeah, well, LOD gets the win here, and man, so up next we got the $1 Million Challenge.
Oh, I love this.
What?
I love this so much. It's so weird. It's just so like when I watch something like this, I just think about the meetings that happened to get this on TV. Like the booking when they're laying out the show, they're formatting the show like, right, we got LOD, the neck thing here. We're gonna start with a cage. Who has got the WWF logo with keys? Who is that your job, Bruce? Is that your job? Get the keys out. And then Norm is there. I don't know who Norm. I guess he's like this gambling guy to make sure it's.
Is he the taller guy in the suit?
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
dumbfounded by the time. But yeah, I love this. I thought it was just so weird.
Where to even begin? I mean, you set the scene beautifully. It's just so on the Raws leading up to the show, they've been showing little like commercial, like little segments, little pre-tape segments that each have a clue to what I don't even know what it was for, but like it's like if they called you, I guess you could submit your phone number or whatever, and they would call you, and you had to like give the clue, and then if you got it, you got to appear here on SummerSlam, which we have a 12-year-old Ryan Chaddock and like a 30-year-old Patrick Stevenson, I think his name was, who just had the weirdest looking head. I mean, if you have that shaped head, don't be bald. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have a great shaped head. I have hair, or I would get a hat. You know what I'm saying? This guy's just stone cold if you put him in the oven too long. Like, that's just not good. Not good. And there's a child on stage, and you have Sunny putting her tits in his face. And this is what's going on here? Like, what? I don't know.
I will say, this thing would have fallen apart even more if not for Todd Pettingill, who I actually thought, like, I think he was from radio originally. He's like a morning breakfast. I think all of that training saved him through this entire thing. Like, he was a pro. He was a real pro to try and make this just end, just get through it, just make it what it was. My favorite bit of the entire thing, because they start dialing people who aren't there, don't they? So they got the two people that are there, and then they got this list of numbers, and they start dialing. And Pettingill says to Sable, "Don't show the camera the number." And then it rings out, and they leave the mic up, but the woman answer machine starts saying the number, like, to the whole crowd. So the answer phone is like, "You've reached 03." And it's like, you've just tried to stop doxing people on camera, and now it's just ringing out. It's the whole audience.
This is the whole like sequence of events. So like they introduce the two people that are physically there, and they ask each of them to pick a number from 1 to 100, and they each pick a number. And then one of the ladies goes and grabs a key. Sonny and Sable are on stage with them. Mm-hmm. They grab the key of that number, and then they hand it to them. But wouldn't you try to open the key? Because like the thing is, you want to pick a number. Each number is associated to a key. Whatever key unlocks this casket full of $1 million it's a deal or no deal situation. But like, why did they wait till the end to have these physical people open the key? I don't know, they were just sitting there with their keys. Like, it was a weird.
And why a casket? I don't know. Why a casket full? Is that the heart and soul?
What else you gonna put it in? I don't know. Good point. Why not a casket? I think caskets are perfectly sized to fit $1 million. I think is the thing.
True. Yes, it depends what notes you use.
Yes. Pounds, quid, who knows?
But why? Because this was just the $1 million giveaway, wasn't it? That Vince did years later on the thing. Like, why is he obsessed with phoning people to try and give them $1 million? Like, is it a tax thing? Like, what is it?
I don't know. I guess the logic is that like everybody wants to win $1 million, so then everyone's gonna watch SummerSlam to have a chance. I guess is probably the logic. But
the first guy they ring says, "I'm not watching. My cable provider doesn't offer SummerSlam." So
are you watching SummerSlam? No. Got better things to do.
Like, watch your stupid shit. And like Todd's like, but what do I do with that? Like, I got no.
Well, you still got. You can still win.
I was really hoping he would win. Like, he wasn't watching, and he took their $1 million.
Also, by the way, anybody that receives a call by default gets a $5,000 savings bond. Why is this? give him a check. Why is it a savings bond?
And did the people who were there get that, or was their SummerSlam trip like their prize? I couldn't work that out.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I don't know. We'll have
They
to look
didn't really
into that.
clarify that for me. I didn't know if the two guys got the savings bond.
No, it's almost like they didn't explain this very well to anybody. Who would have thought? Maybe my favorite part of all this is Vince audibly getting annoyed throughout this whole thing when people aren't answering, and then Todd's because he's like dialing a number right there, which I don't know, and then Vince is like, "Oh, I guess Todd's not wasn't voted most fast dialer." I forget what exactly he said, but he was pissed off how slow he was dialing. But he's like, trying to. Sonny's holding the number right below her tits. It's all oiled and glittery, and it's like shaking. And Todd's like, he's in front of 20,000 people trying to dial. Like, of course he's gonna dial. I'm surprised he dialed the right numbers. Maybe he didn't though. Maybe those first ones they didn't answer because they were the wrong numbers. Who knows?
And you can tell as well, Sonny and Sable are like battling to get in front of the camera, in front of each other. Like
yes,
there's a battle for TV time happening there.
Oh, those women's can't control them. But eventually, a lady answers, and she is watching. She picks a number, and but it doesn't work. So when they pick a number, they'll grab a key, they'll put it in the lock, and they'll twist it, and then if it opens it, they win. If it doesn't, they don't. And all these keys don't work. Even the people that were physically there, they get a chance to put their keys in. They don't work. But the little kid gets a hug from Sable, which Todd says that's worth $1 million, which don't know about that. I know with Sonny, it's worth about $25, so according to her menu. But and then what's this guy? Norm. Yes, he's there. If you would have picked number 3, you would have won. And then I guess to prove that there was a key that worked, and he gets number 3 and opens it. And
the adjudicator, Norm, the adjudicator.
The well-known adjudicator, Norm. Yes,
it's his little face, Norm, when Sable's giving that kid a hug. Like Norm's just got this biggest smile on his face, like, "Oh, isn't this just so much fun?"
We're all having fun. Which, by the way, this is such a long segment. It's probably not a long segment. It felt long because it just brings the show to such a halt. Like they're live in front of the audience. And it's just dialing a phone, ring, just over and over again. Nobody's answering, so they got to do this several times. Have you seen the sold out WCW sold out 1997 Miss NWO segment?
Yes, vaguely. Isn't it just like a load of Eric Bischoff's wife's friends or something like that?
It might be. Because as of right now, that's the worst segment of 1997. But I'm questioning if this is worse.
I think it's got to be up there, hasn't it? It's got to be up there because it doesn't do anything. Like at least when they brought the governor out, that's like massaging her ego because they want to keep the tax breaks and whatever that they've got out of her. So like, you're doing your thing there and whatever. But this didn't further an angle. No one won anything. Like at the end of this, they've achieved nothing.
Yeah, like I said, I think it was just like an advertisement for the show ultimately. But yeah, this is the amount of time they dedicated to it with how much they theoretically gained. Yeah, I just don't think that ratio works out. But to your point, they tried it again years later. Like enough.
Yeah, I'm gonna give that $1 million away come hell or high water.
One day, hopefully, we see it again.
And they don't. Days. The thing with the phone I don't get is why isn't the guys in the truck ringing someone? They have them on the line, and then like Todd just pretends to call. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then they'll just turn the fade up, and the person's online. Like, and everyone will be happy. But this sort of commitment to doing it, I guess it's that Vince thing of like live TV is king. Everything has to be live, or else people are a fraud or something. But you're just asking for trouble, which they've got every single time they've tried it.
Yeah, it's a good point. You'd think they just have them on hold or something. That'd be too smart, though, I think. That'd be too smart. But man, there's some wrestling after that, I think.
Hooray.
We got the coveted. Hey, it's your title. We got the European title on the line. The coveted European title. The champion, the inaugural champion, still the champion. British Bulldog defending against Ken Shamrock. What's the stipulation for this one?
The loser, he has to eat dog food.
Oh,
because he's the bulldog.
I think it's actually only a bulldog if he loses.
Oh, is it? Okay.
But Ken Shamrock already got a taste of the dog food on Raw when he was beat down. They had an arm wrestling match, and wouldn't you know it, the heel used other physicality, headbutted Shamrock, beat him with the chair, took dog food, threw it in his mouth. But that brings us to this match. Bulldog comes out, and then Shamrock comes out, and he's pissed. He's all roided up. He's wet. He's stomping to the ring, and I think this because to this point, Ken Shamrock's just been like, oh, he's a UFC guy, whatever. But I think this kind of opened up the world's most dangerous man, like the like that Ken Shamrock, and so I think ultimately, like this, not a great match, but I think it resulted in some good coming out of it. I don't know. What do you think about this whole deal?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I am the biggest European title mark in history. I love the design of it. I loved the whole like X-Pac run with it, the whole Shane McMahon run with it. It happened to I love the Bulldog was the first one. Like people always say, the European title was nothing. For me, D'Lo Brown, what a European champion. I was a huge mark for it. I thought it looked gorgeous. The design, like if I'm not a belt guy, I don't buy belts. If I did buy belt, the first belt I would buy is the European Championship. So I was already excited that I was on the
just for the title to come out.
But I totally agree with you about Shamrock. This felt like he was a sports entertainer. Like he got that little bit of a side to him going. He's already got that legitimacy, but he doesn't need to be as straight as he has been. Like the whole Vader match that he had a couple of months before, A Cold Day at Hell, where it was like, it was a great match. I love that match actually. But he is very straight, almost a bit rigid and a bit uncomfortable. Like
I'm in my zone.
Yeah, he was having fun. You could see he was having fun during this one. He was over. The crowd were really into Shamrock. Like I kind of forgotten just how much he did connect with the audience as well.
Yeah, he had a cool. I mean, I was always a big Shamrock guy growing up, and I think he just had this cool look to him, a style that was pretty unique. It was a little rough around the edges, but I think that was by design. So the match itself was kind of whatever. It was a little clunky, and ultimately, it's a DQ finish when Bulldog throws the dog food at Ken, and this like incenses him. So I don't know what trauma he has associated to dog food in Ken's childhood, but this lights him up. So Ken grabs the can of dog food and smashes Bulldog with it.
That was
DQ finish.
That was stiff. That that dog food can shot was stiff.
Yeah, I didn't really think of it. Yeah, I guess you can't really gimmick a can of dog food.
No, Bulldog felt that one.
Then Shamrock chokes out Bulldog in the middle of the ring for minutes. He's just choking the shit out of him. All of the agents and the referees come out. They try to rip him off, but they can't. Eventually, Shamrock lets go, and he proceeds to belly everybody in the ring. Everybody in the suits, all the referees, just one after the other, just getting thrown around. And you have this moment when Shamrock, he's just lifeless corpses surrounding him. He's all sweaty and red and pissed. And then to your point, you can hear the crowd just getting behind him. Shamrock chants. You can literally just feel and hear the groundswell behind this guy. And I think ultimately this was a valuable segment. I think it was a net positive, even though the match itself wasn't that great.
Yeah, I think what I think the audience connected with is, after all we've seen kind of up until this point in this show, this felt unpredictable. This felt like, I don't know what this guy is going to do next. Like you say, he's already laid out any official that came near him. Nice Patterson and Briscoe cameos here, taking belly to bellies. They can still work. So yeah, I think that's what the audience really clicked with. Like, this guy might do anything. Like he might start just throwing tables about. He might come into the crowd. He might attack me and my small child. Who knows? But he will do something. And he like split his lip as well, I think, during it. And so he had this sort of like frantic, almost like American Psycho type. His hair's everywhere. He's bleeding from the mouth. And he just wants to kill everyone. Like it's a good visual. Like it did this match. Bulldog put him over well here, like to be choked out like that. Bulldog didn't really show much vulnerability like that a lot, really.
Yeah. I mean, the European champion doesn't go down a lot, so yeah, it was a pretty big moment, I would say.
The only thing I found a little bit strange was like, where were the Hart Foundation in this? Like, Bulldog is absolutely choked out. Like Owen's there, Pillman's there. They come out later on, which we'll get to. So like, they're obviously. That's a thing that they would do, but they just kind of let Bulldog just get choked out. Passed out in the middle.
Pillman was getting his dress tailored. Bret Hart was preparing for his match. Owen was preparing for his match. Anvil, I think, was taking a nap somewhere. He wasn't on the show at all.
Yeah, that's part of my notes for the main event. Where is Anvil? Where
bullshitting. Just doing something with Natty Neidhart, taking her to Chuck E. Cheese or whatever you guys got over there. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, that's a good point. No friends in the building for Bulldog. He would recover though. We'll see him a little bit later. But before that, we got some gang warfare on our hands. We got an 8-man tag team match. We got the Disciples of Apocalypse versus Los Boricuas. Can you name all 8 guys in this match without looking at any notes or anything?
I could name the Disciples. So
what do we got?
Crush, Skull, 8-Ball. Oh no, I can't. I've completely lost the last one.
It's Underfaker.
Yeah, it's Brownie Bubble. Chains.
There you go. You got it.
And then
Los Boricuas.
I can only do 2 of Los Boricuas, and that's Savio and Miguel Perez.
We got Jose Estrada.
Estrada. I should have got Jose Estrada.
Jesus Castillo.
Castillo was the one out. Yeah.
Big Castillo guy.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously remember Miguel Perez because of his flammable chest hair, which, like, yeah, if he goes anywhere near a naked flame, that guy is perishing. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's oily. That's for sure. You're not wrong about that. And then we have this. We have the Whites, the Puerto Ricans, and then we have the Nation, who are not in this match. And I was watching this. I was like, why is the Nation not involved in this? But they make themselves known. They come in through the crowd at some point in the middle of this match. Was this stuff good? Like, it's 97. It's a weird time. A lot of hostility. It still is today, but I don't know. Was this good? Did this fit the time, do you think?
I hated it then, and I hate it now.
Yeah, it's not great.
Like, there was just, like, even watching it in real time, it was one of those things where you like hear the rev of the bikes, and it would just be like, well, I guess it's time to go make a sandwich until something else interesting comes on.
The Disciples were like weirdly over though, which is a little uncomfortable. I think the fans just like motorcycles. I think that's what it is. They hear the like, whoa! It's like monster truck. I don't know if it's like this in Wales. We love monster trucks here in America. I went to a show not too long ago. I thought, this dumb monster. What's this big trucks driving in dirt? That you hear those engines like, oh shit, pal, let's get it. I'm in. So I don't know, but yeah, weird. I mean, I feel I think it might have had a chance if these gangs, these factions were made up of like people that we knew, like. Yeah. Wrangle up 3 Puerto Ricans and throw them a Savio. That's all it was.
And they never even made an attempt to like give these guys any kind of personality. It was like, Crush has got 3 guys. Here's their names. They got to drive a bike, and that's it. And like they just attributed them there, and that was it. They never cut promos. They never Like, I mean, we wouldn't want to hear that anyway, I don't think. But they even gave him a chance to do it. So it was like, here are 8 guys. Enjoy. And when I didn't.
Yeah. Mission not accomplished. And it's like, I could see what they're going for. Like when the Bariquas have like one of the DOA guys in the corner and they're all like punching. It's like if they're trying to make it feel like a mugging, like a gang or ganging up on them. It just didn't. I don't know. There's only so much of that you can do.
And I think they kind of put themselves in a corner because at WrestleMania this year, 13, they did that Chicago street fight with like Ahmed Johnson and Legion of Doom against the Nation. And if you're going to do a match like this, I think you've got to do it no holds barred, like make it a proper brawl, make it a spectacle. Because when you just do it a straight match, like you're going to do the bit of brawl, but then you have to get in the ring and try and win it. And then that's when it just like everyone checks out because, you know, with all the will in the world, you're not going to get much out of the DOA, like in between those ropes.
Yeah, when you got Jesus versus Skull in the ring, like they're doing arm drag, who cares? You know, so but ultimately it's just to set up, I feel like, the post-match brouhaha, because like I mentioned, the Nation eventually they come in through the crowd. So you got Farouk, Ahmed Johnson, Kama, and D'Lo. They're surrounding the ring. And eventually, what even happens? I think Ahmed hits.
He's a pillar plunge on the outside, I think, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, at one point, the hairy Bariqua pins one of the DOA guys. Who cares? So I guess, whatever. Bariquas get the win. But then, yes, Ahmed eventually takes Crush and gives him a Pearl River plunge on the concrete, which I didn't know if he was like going for a pile driver. Yeah. And that's just how he landed. And Crush was like, not for me, pal. I can't blame you.
You'd not be surprised to learn that something Ahmed Johnson did looked awkward.
Yeah, I guess I should expect that. It's he's just somehow he looks so goofy in the Nation garb. It's just the same attire but black.
And that whole thing made no sense. They feuded for like 18 months. It was like a blood feud, and it wasn't terrible. Like it was what it was. It at least had some like, you know,
just marred with injuries, unfortunately.
Fight towards it, like it, and then out just randomly at the end of a Raw, he turns and no, everyone's just confused. Like, why are you now following this guy you've tried to kill for the last 18 months?
And Ahmed was still so hot too. It's not even like he was tapering off as a babyface. Like he was still really hot with the crowd. And then I guess they just wanted Ahmed versus Undertaker. So they had to turn, but they could have just had a babyface match. I don't know. And then Ahmed turns, he gets injured right away after turning, which was just, it's rough. It's rough. But yeah, they just, all the teams brawl. Crush tries to run them over with his motorcycle, but misses twice and then just rides away.
Oh, I forgot at the beginning of this match, they drive out on their bikes and do a lap of the ring, and then they have to go all the way back to where the entrance. That's the only place you can store the bikes. To then walk back to the ring again. Like it's just the most like it just set the tone for me. Like all of this is awkward and weird and just isn't working.
What's your favorite version of Crush?
Oh, definitely the WrestleMania 10 heel
Kona Crush. Oh no, heel.
No, the whole like long like the ponytail like kind of mullet, but with the Mr. Fuji in tow,
getting hung up by Macho Man.
That's it. Yeah,
trying to.
That's it. Yeah. I as a kid, I loved that feud. I loved that Macho Man Crush feud.
It's crazy. That's Macho Man's last WWF match.
Yeah,
it's something.
What a way to go.
Yep, sure is. But more gang warfare later, I suppose. But next up, we got a little intercontinental title match on our hands here. We got the champion, Owen Hart, taking on Stone Cold Steve Austin in what may or may not be the most influential match ever, weirdly. Maybe not ever, but it's up there just with what happened. So the gimmick here is, so Owen pinned Steve Austin at Canadian Stampede. So they have kind of entered a feud as a result of that. I don't know why Steve gets a title match by getting pinned, but it's a whole thing. Who cares? He's selling t-shirts, whatever. I get it. It makes sense. And Steve Austin is like, if I can't beat Owen Hart, well, I'll get on my knees and kiss his ass. So it's a kiss my ass match. But I think it's only if Steve loses, he'll kiss Owen's ass. Yeah, not a lot going on with this match. Just a pretty standard contest, I think, right?
Yeah, there's a Michael Cole sighting for the entrance. He does a little interview or tries to get a few comments from Austin on his way through. And this must be really super early on in Michael Cole's WWF career.
I think we're literally like less than a month after his debut. So yeah, it was very, very fresh-faced Michael Cole. Steve, can I get a word? Can you just let the guy wrestle? Or he's literally about to walk out. God damn it, Michael Cole. He's a journalist, I guess.
One thing I did like, they always tried to push this narrative about Austin that like he did the promo at King of the Ring and then he was like instantly the most popular person in the world. We are like over a year after King of the Ring and Austin hasn't held a singles title yet.
Yeah.
And when he comes out, he does get a pop, but like Shamrock got a bigger pop for doing like his thing. People like Austin, but after this neck injury where he starts to not wrestle and starts to do skits and starts to do angles and starts to be like this wild, I'm just going to come and mess up the show, is where I feel he really had that connection with the crowd. They like him now and they're obviously like wanting him to do well, but it wasn't this instant King of the Ring, do the promo and become the top guy in the thing. It took a little while for it to really kind of cement him.
Yeah, for sure. I guess WrestleMania the following year was probably where it really started to skyrocket for him. He's definitely hot at this point.
Yeah.
Like the Austin 316 shirts all on the signs are all over the place. But yeah, I would agree. He's not near his peak. Well, I guess he's kind of near his peak. It's really after he wins the WWF title and starts feuding with Vince, I think is when it's just off to the races. But
yeah, I kind of noticed it when he did the whole turnbuckle thing. Like he gets up, does the arms on the turnbuckle, and there's like a few people stood up off their feet, but like it wasn't what it's going to be. And I find it really interesting, like, because you get a lot of people now who are like, why aren't you pushing this guy? Like, you got like the whole Karrion Kross thing at the moment, like push this guy, like push him now. And I'm like, no one really got like an instant push, really. Like Warrior maybe got a super push, but like Austin, it took a while for him to build, like to be in the guy, to be in the champion, like completely on top. And when I was watching this, that really struck me. Like he's on his way, but he's had to keep working after that promo.
Yeah, no. To your point, when it came to like those skits, when he's like throwing titles off bridges and pointing guns at Vince McMahon and all that stuff, I think that's where he begins to differentiate himself. Because like at this point in wrestling, at least North American wrestling, that kind of like loose cannon stuff, that I'm gonna kick your ass, like that's kind of, you're seeing a lot of that with the NWO and WCW. You're seeing that all over the place with ECW. I feel like he begins to like craft his own niche in the upcoming months. So yeah, I would definitely agree. So I mean, I'm watching this. I don't think I've actually ever seen this match from start to finish. So I'm watching this. The whole time I'm waiting for the pile driver. Yeah. Like I wasn't even sure if that was like in the beginning of the match or towards like 10 minutes in, 20 minutes in. So the whole time I'm like, oh, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? But as I'm waiting for it, I'm like, damn, it's actually a pretty good match. Like leading up to it. Like, it's Owen Hart and Steve Austin. So it's like, I shouldn't be surprised. But I mean, I do like how Owen's like trying to finesse. He's doing all like the lucha, like chain wrestling stuff, doing front flips on his head. And then he just gets up and then Austin pokes him in the eye. It's like, the juxtaposition between the two I thought was very interesting. But there's also like, Steve throwing out power bombs and stun guns, which you don't really see. You didn't like in the upcoming years. You don't really see him do a lot of like moves.
Yeah, the power bomb was the one that really that's on my notes here. I instantly, as soon as he did, I was like, wow, Steve Austin did a power bomb. Who knew?
Like, how many power bombs has Steve Austin done in his career? That's crazy. Even like taking the Germans. Like, by the way, also the story of this match, commentary is pushing forward, there was like Austin's had neck problems in his past, so Owen's like doing the camel clutch and different like neck vices. And I guess it came to fruition when everybody has seen it. Owen goes for a tombstone pile driver, but the sit down variety. Austin thought it was going to be the kneeling variety, so he tucks his head under Owen, and it just opened up. The sky just opened up. I don't know if you can hear that. It's God striking down on me for this match, but so yeah, Owen sits down on Steve's neck, shatters it, temporarily paralyzes Steve, and Owen. I think it seems like Owen knew immediately that he fucked up. That there was an issue there, so he like immediately, he doesn't go for the pin or anything. He just immediately starts vamping to the crowd, getting Canada chants, or he's trying to chant Canada, and the refs communicating or whatever, and it's eventually like a shitty little roll up. But the fact that Steve was able to move it all is a miracle. So Steve gets his first singles title, but in a match that would change his future, probably not for the good. So yeah, crazy stuff. I mean, what's your take on this whole situation?
Yeah, I enjoyed the match. I enjoyed it. I felt like when I was watching it, I was trying to kind of watch how Austin worked to see how if it was different to how he worked after. And I think like for me, I don't know if it's kind of like I wanted to see it, but he was more fluid. Like you can see he's not as sort of rigid as he became. He's a lot more. He had to become a lot more of a brawler after this. There's
bumps that he wouldn't take after. Like in this match, he took a German suplex, like pretty high angle on his neck. Like you're not seeing that anymore from him.
No, honestly, he's not leaving his feet anywhere near as much as he would.
Yeah.
But it was a good match. I think, not to disparage Owen, because I think Owen's brilliant, but I think when you see what Brett and Austin did in their series of matches, like how good those series of matches were when you like see this one, because this one was good, but I was watching it going like, oh man, but him and Brett had some serious magic together. I think when the incident happens, I tried to listen to like the commentary to kind of get a gauge of what was going on there, and I think there's a lot of mute buttons going on and trying to like, I think there's a lot of, you can kind of tell that Vince doesn't want to talk a lot.
Especially in the next match, Vince is clearly distracted.
Yeah, absolutely. And JR's kind of trying to take over a little bit and fill in some bits. And I don't think Earl Hebner really handled this brilliantly. He kind of looks over Steve and I think instantly just shits himself and goes, oh dear, like they're actually hurt. I'm going to have to do something. And then he just kind of lets Steve do what he wants to do. It's a different time, I guess. Like you're going to defer to Steve. But even when the other officials come in, I was like, I know he's going to want to walk out, but for God's sake, just get him a stretcher. And like, he's got a neck and back injury. Like, stop moving him. And like, there's three of them like hoisting him and like dragging him.
You gotta hold that title up, Steve.
You've won. It's your moment, son. That was the thing I was watching. I was like, through 2025 eyes and what we know about like head injuries, neck injuries and stuff, I was just like, I wish they had just told him to stay perfectly still and get him out, because it's horrible watching. Like his left foot he's dragging it, like it has nothing in it. Like it's really uncomfortable to see. Like I'm kind of surprised that they leave it in as much, like the footage as much as they do, because like it's not a comfortable watch, and it's not a nice thing at all. And I am like shocked at how he didn't take any time off after this, really. Like he did in terms of the ring, but he was like on the show every week from this, and I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, it's such an interesting like time too, because I don't know if Brett was already talking to WCW at this point. This might be a little bit before, but and then Sean's kind of off the rails at this point. He quit for a little bit, then came back. So I feel like there's the amount of stars up top are lacking a little bit. So I feel like
Yeah, I wonder if for me 97 is so fascinating because to me it is the first year where Vince has to make new stars and he has to commit to making new stars. Like he tried to say it was a new generation, but he still had Piper hanging around. He still had Backlund hanging around. Like he brought Warrior back. Like he still went back to these crutches from when Hogan left. But 97, he didn't have any of them. And he had to use what he had. And everyone's jockeying for position in this show. You can see it. Like Austin has to make that pin because he has to try and keep that momentum to be the top guy. Like Taker's got the belt. Michaels and Brett are at each other. Like they can all smell it. They know that there's this top spot that is up for grabs. And that's why 97 is so fascinating for me, because it really is. Everyone was pitching themselves to Vince to be the next guy because they knew he didn't have any of his others.
Is there anyone that you can like think of in this time period that you think could have been a top star, but for whatever reason just never got that opportunity? Ahmed Johnson's one for me.
Yeah.
Like he reached a good amount of success, but I feel like he just had so much more potential than what was realized.
Yeah, it's probably his promo work maybe didn't connect much with crowd, but then I guess you don't need to like.
He had that kind of chaotic style though, and speaking that for whatever reason kind of resonated with the crowd, kind of like Sid.
Oh yeah, Sid's disappeared as well. He was around during this time.
I think he either just left or is about to leave at this point.
And like the Patriots just turned up as well, hasn't he?
Oh,
God, that was weird.
We don't claim him, by the way. We don't claim the Patriot. Del Wilkes. Suck my cock.
The only other one, like we talked about Shamrock as well. Like I always thought he would have been more.
Yeah,
you'd have had a run with the belt at some point, like. But
King of the Ring, they never really capitalized on it.
He's unreliable, apparently.
I think he always had 1 foot in the MMA world. Never really commit to wrestling. Yeah,
but yeah, I just love that whole 97. Like everyone has been around for a little bit, and now they want to be the man. And I think that's why Austin stayed on TV, because if he didn't, he's just leaving a vacuum for 1, 2, 3 more guys to get. Actually, Owen Hart is probably the one I would think should have, if he never got out of the shadow of the screw job, did he? Like they kept him, but they were never ever gonna push a Hart while that was.
He definitely tapered down after that. Was pretty solidified in the lower mid card. I feel like if there was any opportunity to capitalize on him, it would have been 94, King of the Ring, Black Heart, but still kind of in the shadow of Brett at that point, unfortunately. So, but yeah, no, Austin injures his neck here. Will still be on TV, but not wrestling for a while. It's just a big he would eventually get surgery in I think like late 99, so like 2 years from now. And I don't know, I just think like if this didn't happen, what would change? Because without Austin there in most of 2000, like that's when like The Rock and Triple H I feel like really blossomed. So do you think it negatively impacts them if Austin is healthy at that point?
I don't know, because I don't think. I think Austin's own career doesn't go off as quickly as it does if he's just wrestling. Like, because I think he just goes on to the next angle, right? And like, he has to kind of share time with whoever he's working with. Like that whole space that he had from this incident to when does he come back? DX pay-per-view around October time, something like that. November time, something like, or maybe Survivor Series he comes back. But yeah, it's a good couple of months. But in those couple of months, I think he stands out so much, and I don't know if he does that if he's wrestling regularly.
So is it a net positive for him?
I think in a weird way, it is. Like, it probably cuts his career short by like 5-10 years, but I think he becomes the man.
Yeah. No, that's probably you're probably right on that for sure. I'm just trying to picture Steve Austin wrestling in like 2004, like him versus like JBL or Heidenreich or some shit. Yeah, maybe it's best that he didn't wrestle in those years.
And I think Spanky would have taken a great stunner.
Oh man, there's still time to make that happen. But that brings us to the main event: Hart versus Soul for the WWF title, with special guest referee Shawn Michaels. We got the champion, The Undertaker, defending against Bret Hart. Who, man? So this is it's for context of the timeline. So we're after the Sunny Days stuff. We're after them like scuffling backstage. We're in the midst of the real heat between Shawn and Bret, and then Undertaker's just there. He's dead. But with Undertaker, though, we are building up to Kane. So he has his own stuff going on. Then Shawn and Bret have their stuff going on. So we got a lot of stories interwebbed here, as we'll see like a couple people pop out during this match. And the stipulations are, obviously, if Taker loses, he loses the title. If Bret loses, he can no longer wrestle on U.S. soil. And if Shawn Michaels is impartial negatively towards Bret Hart, he can also no longer wrestle on U.S. soil. At least I think. They were kind of unclear with that, but they're kind of like, oh, if he doesn't call it down the line, well, we're gonna show him.
I so wish they had gone through with it and like had to put on shows like just around the world just to get one of them going on. Do you know what I mean? Like bill it as like, you don't get to see this guy wrestle anymore.
It's wrestling Alto Montoya in Spain or Portugal, wherever the fuck he's from. But yeah, so those are the stakes here, along with the title. Like I mentioned, we're still hot off the heels of Canadian Stampede, which the Harts won. So the Canadian nationalism is hot here. Bret comes out with the Canadian flag. He comes out, he demands the Canadian national anthem be played, and they play the whole thing. Where, as far as anthems go, where do you rank the Canadian anthem? Maybe on a scale of 1 to 10.
Well, I'm a big ice hockey guy. Like, I'm in my other life, I'm a play-by-play announcer for the hockey team in Cardiff. So, like, I've got a lot of love for all things Canadian off the back of that. So I rank the anthem pretty high. It's a solid 8.
Sense. Okay. I've heard better anthems. I'll put it that way. But we get it, and then Shawn comes out in a referee outfit, which I was kind of hoping he'd be a little more slutty with it. Just kind of more of a standard, just a standard ref outfit with the sleeves cut off. It was like whatever.
The only ref to have an entrance.
And pyro.
Yeah.
Sensational. Then Undertaker comes out and match is underway. Bret hot start. By the way, they do the intros. Ref holds the belt. Bret grabs the belt, smashes Taker with it, and we're off to the races.
How well though does Bret sell Taker's entrance when he does the whole like big boom, and Bret initially like turns around, holy shit! Like he looks like he's absolutely terrified. Like he's working straight from the off. He's even selling entrances. That's how well.
I think he was legit scared. I'll be honest. It's a very abrupt. Like it's not like it's not like a cane where he like lifts his hands. You can see it come in. It's just Taker's just standing there, and it's just like right away, and it's bang. So, but yeah, no, there's a lot to unpack here. Ultimately, though, like Bret and Taker have had a few matches. I don't know if they've had a bunch of good ones. I know they had like the Royal Rumble one that wasn't particularly great. This one, I mean, he had the Shawn Michaels influence as well, although he was relatively impartial during most of this. I think I enjoyed this one. I think it was a pretty solid main event. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think we're starting to see Taker starting to loosen up a little bit in the ring. He's like that 96 Rumble one. He's still in kind of rigid zombie mode, where it's hard to move him around. Whereas now he's really, after the Mankind stuff, is where Taker for me really started like resonating with me. I loved him as a character as a kid because he was like, so over the top, goofy and stuff. But now it was like, as I'm growing older, he's starting to like wrestle a bit more like a normal person.
Yeah, the Paul Bearer like turning on him, I feel like started that kind of humanization of him a little bit, but I think he kind of found that balance between his character and being able to kind of act like a person. And I think to your point that translated to his wrestling style well, I think.
Yeah. And like credit to WWF, like that turn happened a year before. Like SummerSlam 96 where that turn happened, and this Paul Bearer stuff is still going on. And it still feels pretty good. Like, it still feels pretty fresh. Like, they like you say, they're building a Kane. And yeah, I think they did really well to keep that just simmering underneath Taker having to take the belt and stuff. I really like that. But yeah, I could watch Bret Hart wrestle a broom, to be honest. Like, him and Shawn, for me, were just my childhood, you know, like they were the guys that I never had to choose between them. I loved both of them. I was never like a Bret guy or a Shawn guy. I was like, give me all of the good wrestling. So yeah, I just love Bret's work here. There's a great moment where Taker breaks the sharpshooter and sort of tosses him to the outside, and the look on Bret's face that someone has done that to him. And
great
because
call by JR as well.
Yeah.
He broke the sharpshooter. Nobody's ever done that. So good.
And because he's a heel, it works now. Like, he can be more vulnerable, Bret, as that he doesn't have to be like the super serious baby face, no one's ever going to break me type thing. Yeah. And Bret looks like he's having fun as a heel as well, to me. Like,
I think so. I think it's kind of rooted in reality a little bit. I think. Yeah. So I think it works.
Yeah, as all the best heel turns do.
Going for his patented like second rope elbow, but flipping off the crowd first and then hitting it and then flipping him off again. It's so good.
The one thing that did strike me is, like, how hard do you think it is for the guys to try and be a ref? Like, where to stand? Yeah. Like, where, like, there was times where Shawn, I felt like, was like skipping over them a little bit and like not quite where he needed to be. And I just thought, yeah, it must be really difficult to. You're trying to work around the ref most of the time, and now you're completely there. Like, if you've never done
be in the background, not in the foreground. Yeah. I thought Shawn, as a ref, I thought he kind of seamlessly slid into that role a little bit. Like, I thought most of the match, I wasn't really paying attention to him, and even just his like, you know, checking if the guy like in the submission, like, what do you say? What do you say? Like all that stuff. I thought it was pretty decent. I think he would have made a good ref had he wanted to go that route as well. But. No, yeah, good stuff all throughout. I mean, of course, it's Bret Hart, so he's gonna be working the leg. A lot of this match, we get the figure four around the ring post. We get the sharpshooter around the ring post. I guess I don't think it really panned out as well as he maybe had it in his head. But I like the attempt. I like the attempt. Yeah, I know that this a lot of this match just felt like a struggle. Like Taker, he hits a choke slam from the apron to the inside of the ring, and then he goes for old school, but then Bret kicks the ropes to knock him off, which I feel like you don't see a lot of people do that. It seems like such a simple counter. And then Bret goes for the superplex, but then Taker kind of loses his balance, but then Bret still holds on and eventually powers him up and hits it. Like, it's all felt so good. Very snug, like you said before.
Just two guys who are like top of their game, pros, like they know what they're doing. Like, it's just seamless, isn't it? Like, you can't see through anything. Like, there's nothing that like you kind of turn your nose up at. Like, it's just, it may not be as like sort of, you know, it is exciting, but it's not like, wow, like I can't believe they just did that. Like, you're just engrossed. You kind of just engrossed into it and turn into it. And I just think Bret is so good at telling stories, using moves. Like the way that the matches move along with him is just like, when you get to the finish, it's so satisfying because he's crafted and set everything up so well that you don't even notice it's happened. Like, he's just grabbed you, and I just he's up there. He's the best.
Yeah, it's not super flashy, but I feel like flashiness can sometimes lend to the viewer being taken out of it. Like, oh, I'm watching guys do stunts around each other. Whereas when Brett's wrestling, it's like, oh, these guys are fighting each other. And I think Taker was a good foil for that as well. So, but then the finish comes. Brett, he's getting fed up. Well, after the sharpshooter in the ring post, I think somebody falls off. I think Taker or Brett shoves Taker off and then lands on Sean, who's on the outside, or it might have been the other way around. But Sean's down, injured his knee a little bit. He's tending to his knee. While he's down, Brett grabs a chair, smashes Undertaker in the head with it in the ring, throws the chair down, makes the pin. Sean gets in the ring. He's a little delayed. Gets in. 1-2 kick out. But then Sean finds the chair, which I like. You don't see refs do this. People will get hit with the chair, and then the ref will see the chair and be like, hey, what's that chair doing in here? The guy's like, I don't know. Someone was sitting. Who knows? But Sean sees the chair. He's like, hey, what the hell is this? And Brett's like, I don't know. And then Sean's like, hey, what, did you hit him with it? And Brett's you can see him. You can read his lips. He says, fuck you. And then spits the gnarliest loogie, a loogie that Brett had been saving up just for Sean. Throws his spit at Sean's face. Sean, who is still holding the chair, swings it at Brett. Brett ducks, hits Undertaker, who is standing behind him. Brett makes the pin to capitalize on this. And Sean has to count, because if not, he may or may not be unable to wrestle in the US or something. Who knows?
It's definitely some sort of consequence.
Oh, he's going to feel that somewhere, maybe. I don't know. But Sean makes the counts. He's pissed. He makes that 3 count, slides immediately out of the ring, and storms off. We got a new WWF champion in Bret Hart. I mean, just what'd you think of that finish?
I love that finish.
So
and
good.
I'm so happy that people haven't spammed it in like years. Like, I can't really think of another significant time where that sort of finish has happened, really.
I think they alluded to it. Was it Punk versus Drew with Seth as the referee?
Yeah.
I think whoever he swung the chair at caught it or something. So it was like a little different, but
yeah. But the couple of things I really love. I love that the spit, unbeknownst to them, will echo down into Montreal when he throws one at Vince from the ropes as well. And weirdly, I guess because he's done it to Sean, people in the audience probably didn't realize the significance of the one to Vince. Like, Brett is a spitter now. So
Brett is a spitter. You heard it here first, folks. Wrestle G dropping bombs on us. I mean, Mount Rushmore of spitters. Brett's on there. Brett's on there. I don't know who the other 3 are.
So I liked the whole like foreshadowing without them knowing. I love how Taker appears from nowhere to take the chair shot. Chair shots are usually so telegraphed, like they're holding the arms and all that, but like you don't really realize Taker's there until the swing is coming, and then you're like, holy shit, Taker's taking this full on. So that just makes it a lot more impactful, I think, because it is a surprise. It's not as like blatant as you usually get. And then
Sean didn't have to like awkwardly like lean over to hit the guy behind him. Like, it all felt so seamless.
Yeah. And then I love Sean looking Brett in the eyes as he has to count the 3. I think he sells that whole moment so well that like, I am actually going to do this. At no point do you think Sean's not going to count the 3 because of his like the way he holds that eye contact with Brett to be like, I hate doing this for you. And I just think like that's such a little detail, but I think it just says so much, and it just plays out the story superbly.
Yeah, totally agree. And Brett, who's the new champion, holds up the title when trash is littering the ring, which we see that a lot in WCW, but not a ton in WWF. So that was a cool little backdrop for this moment. It's just such a great way to end a pay-per-view. You felt like you saw something monumental, and also are very interested to tune into Raw the next night. So yeah, this was from start to finish. This was awesome.
And it just splinters Sean off then into the Taker feud for the next few pay-per-views, and like what a feud that was. I love that whole program they did, and they're doing really well. I think you mentioned earlier about like just weaving people in and out of each other's programs, but keeping things simmering in the background if they need to like pivot at any point, because 97 is full of pivots. Like from the start of the year, people are going down injured and changing and plans things. So I think by this point of the summer, they're like, look, if everyone's feuding, then it doesn't matter if someone goes away. We can just carry on.
Yeah. No, then we got Rocky Maivia returning soon, and that's the whole thing. And man, lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff coming. But that brings Heart and Soul SummerSlam 1997 to a close. If you had to grade this show from 0 to 100, what do you think you would throw at it?
Ooh, it's a really difficult one to grade, I think, because the payoffs are pretty good. The Austin thing is historic, but like in just the bubble of the show,
right? In a vacuum,
totally takes it away. Like I think you'd be in the 70s. I think late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, I was thinking like mid 60s, maybe.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be mad at that. Like everyone worked hard. Some bits worked really well. Some bits were just weird. And
if somebody won the $1 million, it would up it at least 10 points, I think. To me. That's just me, though.
Yeah,
maybe next time.
We'll settle on 68 for me.
Well, I think if I had to grade it, I would give it a G for Wrestle G. Appreciate you making the time to come on here, talk some old school wrestling. Where can everybody find you, listen to you, all that stuff?
Good, yes, good point. I am at Wrestle_G on Twitter. Can always be Twitter. And at Wrestle G on TikTok. And I'm still trying to work out what that is. But there is some stuff in there. There will be some stuff coming. But it's mostly my Twitter account at the moment. Got some Raw is Random episodes up there that I'm trying to delve into some ridiculous things from Raw's past, and there's far more than I thought, and there's more to come. But thank you so much for having me on today. I thoroughly enjoyed going back in the time machine and reliving 1997 SummerSlam with you.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Real quick, Sonny or Sable?
Sonny.
The answer was Todd Pettengill, and you failed.
Once again, thank you to Wrestle G for joining the program. Talking some SummerSlam 1997 was a good time with WG, I guess we'll call him. Wrestleleg. We can call him for short. I'm not going to call him that. But go follow him. All of his stuff is in the description. He's a good follow on X in particular. Follow me if you wish. Do that. Hey! You know what we gotta do is hit that goddamn jingle, Bartholomew.
WCW, ECW, WWF, who's the hardest promotion? Eric or Vince or Paulie? I think we can agree though. Heck, Myers is the shit.
Alrighty then. The hardest promotion battle of 1997 continues. WWF versus WCW versus ECW. We'll get into all of this. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, you can follow along visually. But if you're just listening on audio, I'll walk you through it as well. Right now, the current score, WCW 29, ECW 25, WWF 4. Let's see if there's any changes to that score. First thing we got to do is grade this show from a scale of 0 to 100. What the heck are we thinking? SummerSlam 97. I believe on the podcast we said like mid 60s, somewhere in there. Let's see. Canadian Stampede got a 65. I would say I would put this above Canadian Stampede. Not a ton though. Not a ton better. Bash at the Beach got a 76. Not as good as Bash at the Beach. So it's in between 65 and 76 for sure. I'm thinking 67. 67 feels right. Let's see how that tastes. I think 67 is pretty fair. I like a 67. What do we think? What do we think? All right. Marking it down. 67. So we will refresh this bad boy. And as of right now, ECW still with the highest average grade of 75. WCW is 72. WWF is 63. So ECW has the highest average pay-per-view grade. So we go back to the overall scoreboard here. The highest average score for their pay-per-views. ECW maintains those 15 points that they already had. So no changes to the scoreboard yet. Best TV, we're tracking WCW. Yeah, nothing's really changed in that department. I mean, they're doing great stuff over there, whereas WWF is very top heavy, I would say. If that. So, and ECW is kind of still doing their ECW thing. So, WCW maintains this 15 points for best TV. Best in-ring. Best in-ring. We're tracking WCW. Again, I would say, yeah, I don't think enough has changed. I mean, we're only, a week or two after Bash at the Beach. I don't think enough has changed to warrant a change here. So WCW maintains these 10 points. Best out of ring. So we're looking at the overall stories and whatnot. I think WWF has some good stuff cooking. For a while, it was just Stone Cold and the Hearts, and then everything else. And you have the Undertaker stuff brewing. But now you got the Brett and Shawn stuff is very captivating. Even though that's been going on, but I think it's really starting to heat up. Shawn coming back, even though he's like personally in a very like bad spot, it's making for good TV. So, but just not a lot. Like again, just very top heavy. WWF is not a very full catalog of stories, whereas WCW I feel like does have like from top to bottom. They have stuff in the cruiserweights, they have the Horsemen, they have the NWO, the Flair and Piper stuff, like the DDP stuff. They just got stuff all throughout their show, and it kind of ties in. The best out of ring and the best TV kind of go hand in hand because one helps the other. So, and ECW is kind of in a weird. They have some good stories going on right now, but just not enough. Not enough breadth, I guess I would say. They have some depth, but not breadth. So I would say WCW maintains the best out of ring for now. So they keep those 10 points. So now we move on to the best section. This is all of the best stuff. Best match. Best match of the year so far. We're tracking Brett versus Austin at WrestleMania. Yeah, nothing on this show was better than that. So we'll just leave it at that. Best wrestler of the year, we are tracking Stone Cold. So this is both in-ring and out-of-ring stuff. Now, we talked during the podcast, and while Austin versus Owen is known, obviously, for the neck break, it's a damn good match. It's a damn good match leading up to it. He's a great character, and he's going to remain a great character. We talked about it. He might even ramp up after this injury, so I don't really see any reason. Again, DDP is the guy. DDP and Taz are kind of the front runners as far as like who can knock Stone Cold off of this. Unless I'm forgetting it. But by the way, if you guys are listening to this and you're like, hardest part of the ring, you're forgetting about this. You're forgetting about this fella or this event or this thing that happened. Sound off in the comments, man. Let me know. Join the Discord. Send me a DM. Whatever. But right now, I think Stone Cold is still at the top in terms of best wrestler of the year so far. Best character / storyline. We are tracking Taz. So this is Taz, his character, his internal character, but also his feud with Sabu and the whole conglomeration of Bill Alfonso, Jerry Lawler, Jim Cornette, RVD, Sabu, like that whole thing. I think that's all very well done. Best character / story. You could throw Sting in here too. You could You could throw Brett and Sean as a storyline here. Maybe come November. We'll see. But I think we'll just leave Taz here. So ECW keeps those 5 points. Best segment of the year. Jerry Lawler's debut at WrestlePalooza in ECW. Yeah. Nothing. Trying to think of any segments that have happened on Raw or anything that would have been better than this. But yeah, I still think that's the top. It's just such a surreal moment, such a cool moment. It's just pure wrestling. That's just what wrestling. It's what I love in wrestling. It's what I think is when wrestling is at its best. That emotion. Go listen to our WrestlePalooza review, by the way, if you haven't. It's a crazy one. But yeah, I think ECW maintains these 5 points here. So no changes yet. But let's move on to the worst. So this is all the worst stuff of the year so far. Worst match of the year. We are tracking Undertaker versus Sid from WrestleMania 13. Anything worse from this show? I don't think so. By the way, just a thought that just popped into my head. As far as best wrestler of the year, I think you could throw Mick Foley in there. It's still WWF regardless, so it doesn't really matter, but like you could throw Mick Foley in there. I think by the end of the year, he might give him a run for his money as well. Just wanted to shout out him. He's definitely in the running as well. But worst match, Undertaker Sid. Yeah, nothing's been worse than that. No, not from this show that we just talked about. So we'll leave that as that. So WWF keeps those -3 points. Worst wrestler of the year, Prince Iakea. Let me look at my notes. Is there any Let's see here. What do we got? Anybody that I'm forgetting that could have been worse? Legion of Doom, perhaps? No. Oh, man. The gang warfare stuff really gets my brain turning here as far as worsts. That could be the next thing we talk about, though. So I might save that. Yeah, we'll leave it as Prince Iakea. I feel like he shouldn't be here by the end of the year, but there's just something about him that I just don't like, and that I just think is very bad. I just think he stinks. I'm trying to keep this objective, but I think the guy just stinks. I don't know what it is about him. There's no one that really pops to mind that would be worse. But again, maybe I'm forgetting. You could throw Hulk Hogan in here, but I think his heel run so far has been good. On the whole. For the time. Like in the shoes of 1997. His promos are super corny, but he still has massive heat. So, and it just works. So that's why it's not Hogan. You could throw like a Vincent in here. You could throw who else? Lots of people. We'll keep it as Prince Iakea. Worst character / storyline. The whole Honky Tonk Man, Rockabilly, Jesse James saga. Now that it seems like it's over. I mean, Rockabilly and Honky Tonk Man are still going, but it seems like the whole feud with Jesse James seems to be over. I mean, I assume they pick it back up at some point because then they come together. But my point is that it didn't last long, so can it be the worst character / storyline of the year? My thought is that we put gang warfare in here. Just to encapsulate everything. Nation, DOA, Bariquas. I don't think it's terrible yet is the thing, though. I think I'm willing to let it simmer a little bit and see where we are at. I think at the next pay-per-view for WWF, there's like a triple threat of some sort. I'm willing to let it marinate. But just know, Crush, Savio, Farouk, if you're listening, just know you're on the bubble. All right? Just know you better get your shit straight. You better tighten up because you're on the bubble. You're on the cutting board. If you don't get any better anytime soon, your shit's gonna be on the scoreboard. You're not gonna like that. You're not gonna like that at all. All right? Anyways, so we'll leave it as Honky Tonk Man. Just because the rockabilly, I might just change this to rockabilly, honestly. We'll just leave it as it is, but that whole thing, that was terrible. All right, so here's the thing. Last thing we're gonna touch on. No changes yet, but worst segment of the year. We are tracking Miss NWO from WCW Sold Out 97. So the past couple months, I've been like, nothing's knocking this bad boy off. This was an all-time bad segment. Lasted throughout the entire show. It was awful. It was a waste of time. It was stupid. But is the $1 Million Challenge from SummerSlam 1997, is that worse than Miss NWO? Is the question. We talked about it a little bit on the podcast. I kind of had this in mind. Because I really don't know. My gut says no. My gut says that Miss NWO is worse. It was much longer, first of all, Miss NWO. It was, several segments throughout the pay-per-view, it was probably 30 minutes in total of this shit. Maybe not that much. It's probably like 15, 20. But it was just so poorly produced, but so was the $1 Million Challenge. The Miss NWO thing at least played into the NWO, the sleaziness of it. And if what Wrestle G said, if they were just a bunch of Eric Bischoff's friends or his wife's friends or whatever it was, if that's true, that makes me like it a little more. And it had entertainment value is the thing. It was maybe for the wrong reasons, but it was hilarious in its own way. $1 Million Challenge. I guess it had some humor to it, some comedy, but I don't know. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I'm not sure what's worse. I think Miss NWO is still worse, but surprising competition, surprising amount of competition from the $1 Million Challenge. This might be something we revisit. When we get to the end here, we'll have a little finale episode where we kind of revisit the year and make any changes if necessary. At that point, maybe we'll let it simmer again. Just another thing to marinate. Maybe we'll realize that the $1 Million Challenge was worse. Or maybe now I'm thinking maybe there is a possibility for a worse segment to have if that's just what we're getting at this point. So who knows? So I'll leave it for now. But it's got my attention, and it hasn't had my attention for a while. I've been just, subscribed to the belief that, Miss NWO is going to be here for the entire year and nothing's going to overtake it. But who knows? But all that to say, once again, no changes to the score. WCW still in the lead with 29 points, but we still got several months left. So, and a lot is going to happen to close out 1997. We got some big, huge stuff coming. So can't wait. So stay tuned for that. And I think that's all Daddy's got for you today. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Always appreciate the support. Appreciate everybody liking, rating, reviewing, commenting, giving me little pecks on the cheek. All that stuff is greatly appreciated. And I think you need to go now. Go on, we're done here. Leave. Not you. You stay. All right. I don't know. Anyways, thanks guys for listening, watching, tasting. Mwah. I'm hard.
Yeah. is the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started.